Before we get started, I just want to throw a disclaimer. I am not a medical professional, nor is this review providing medical advice. I am merely a consumer who purchased this product with my own funds for my personal use in order to review how the product works. So, without further ado, let's jump into it right now. Like a lot of folks out there, I have some gnarly sinus congestion due to a variety of things. For years, the consumer tech approach to better sleep and breathing has always involved like strapping on a smartwatch to your wrist to tell you how poorly you slept, or plugging in a moist humidifier, smart humidifiers now, and just blowing mist into your face. But what if a wearable could actively clear your sinuses using artificial intelligence and bone conduction? Well, that's exactly what the SONU band by Sound Health strives to do. It's an FDA approved headband that brings acoustic resonance therapy to a consumer electronics level. It's a bit pricey to get into this piece of tech that may or may not work for everyone, but that's also why I'm here to give you my experience after a couple of months of treatment from the SONU. So first off, what is acoustic resonance? Well, you may have heard of bone conduction in the consumer electronic space. In fact, we've reviewed a handful of bone conduction earphones over the years. It's essentially a method of pushing sound to the bones of the skull. For music-based products like earphones, the sound attempts to ride the bone of the skull to the inner ear, skipping past the eardrum like a traditional in-ear earbud would do. So basically, take that fundamental execution of audio vibration and then paste it onto the forehead where the nasal tunnel runs through. The theory of this treatment is that these vibrations can then loosen the mucus, reduce the swelling, and also drain the nasal cavities. SONU does provide sources and has funded a research on the efficacy of this band, which I will provide the link to on Hypnotics.com in the article so you can read for it yourself. I have read through them, but I have also not come across an independent trial of the SONU band that's not associated with the company's sound health systems itself. If one is out there, I haven't read it yet, and if you find one, please send it to me so I can read that. I would be highly interested to see that. What I'm trying to allude to, though, is that the SONU band is a legitimate item that has medical backing and a strong reputation. Whether it works for me or you is a different story, but this isn't a product that I think should be approached with caution like a scam or anything. I think it's a legit product. So how does this thing work? Out of the box, the SONU band looks like a high-tech piece of athletic sweatband or something like that. It's available in black or gray, and it's surprisingly lightweight. I don't really feel it much. The core of the hardware relies on a dual precision bone conduction transducer built into the front of the band, which sits really snugly against your forehead. You can adjust it through the Velcro on the back, but it needs to sit relatively tightly to go against your face. The SONU band only has a single button that powers the unit on or off. It also only has a single USB-C port solely used for recharging the device. With no interface on the hardware to control anything at all, the band completely relies on the companion app to operate. It's available on both iOS and Android, and I do find the app to actually be pretty easy to use and pretty well designed. It's straightforward and everything functions in an orderly manner, which if you've tried apps for products that aren't really or necessarily mainstream items and products, you'll kind of know what I'm saying here, but it's not super common to see a well-designed app. The SONU app starts off by doing a 3D topographic map through a facial scan of your face to determine specific like craniofacial and sinus anatomy. Every company in the world says they incorporate AI to their work. What it actually does, though, is a mystery to me, as I've attempted to try to understand and analyze and figure out what exact algorithm or formula it uses to be considered AI as used to conduct the scan to evaluate basically how congested I am and how my facial structure is. I still have no clue what it's basing its results on. The three lines, though, on the band I do know are used as a marker point to align and center the band to the nasal area. The SONU app then prompts you to recite a saying, "Man simmers on the moon," that's what you have to say, to then analyze, and then it will use it to determine your current level of congestion. I won't say I completely understand the mechanical engineering behind the band and its attempt at using AI to calculate the proper resonant frequency of every individual, but it does spit out a digit score. After that, the user can press the start session button, and bone conducting frequency sound waves will then begin pushing directly into the sinus cavities. The sound waves are low frequency, but they're also directly controlled by the hardware that the app is on. For example, I use an Android phone to run the app, and the SONU band reads it as a Bluetooth peripheral. Android then identifies it as a Bluetooth speaker, akin to basically how it sees a wireless earbud. It will then project all of the audio coming from the Android device through the SONU band, unless you customize your Android settings to strictly handle audio through an individual function. The default soundtrack the SONU app emits is a peaceful track that reminds me of a prototypical meditation session. It's soothing, and the vibrations coming from the track are easy to follow along to in its ranges. Just imagine bumping up a speaker and feeling the pulse from the bass on your skin. That's basically what this is, except that it's targeted at the nasal area where the mucus builds up. It isn't painful at all, and there should be no possible reason for any side effects. Though since the band acts as a Bluetooth device, the volume levels do need to be controlled by the volume rockers of the app host. There's no way to control the volume levels and by extension the vibration strength directly through the SONU band. The first couple of times I had attempted to use this, I didn't realize that my phone's Bluetooth volume levels were set so low, and that was the reason why the SONU frequencies felt so weak. They were really non-existent. Once I increased the volume levels from the phone, then I instantly felt the tremors on my forehead. Then each session lasts for 15 minutes, and the company recommends 2 sessions a day, equaling to a total investment time of 30 minutes per day. That's quite reasonable, as there really isn't any downtime required when using the SONU band. You can turn on a session and then work on your computer at the same time. It's unobtrusive to your daily routines, and it just works in the background. Now, the $1,000,000 question you're here to learn about is if this thing really works. And I want to preface this by introducing all the variables I had involved with the SONU band, as each user may really experience different results. While Sound Health advertises that the SONU band is a product that helps a user eliminate reliance on intranasal steroids or decongestions and oral medicine, I absolutely continue to take all 3 of those with using this at the same time. The SONU band was basically a supplement I added on my ever-growing lineup of products in my battle against nasal congestion. I am also severely allergic to living. I'm literally allergic to anything green. When my doctor got my blood results back from testing, he joked that he was shocked I was able to go outside without a bubble. That's how bad it was. I also have a really bad deviated septum that was confirmed via a CT scan. So if you're here for this review, you're likely desperate for some reprieve from this never-ending suffering your nose is forcing upon you. Whether you're tired because of your quality of sleep being weakened due to your poor breathing, or you're suffering from clogged ears, headaches, or feeling pulsing in your face, or constantly blowing your nose nonstop every single day, you're not alone. It sucks. I totally get it. Unfortunately, I can't earnestly tell you that the SONU band was a magical solution that will end your suffering. It didn't do that for me. To be clear though, I don't personally see a change in my everyday suffering. I use the band daily for 2 months now, and I've maintained about a similar outcome in how I feel pre-SONU device. I can't make up my mind though whether the band is at least preventing me from feeling worse by sonicating dense mucus, or if it's literally doing nothing. That's where I'm really at right now in my decision making. In the past, some days were insufferable in my life. The effects of congestion just really wears heavily on my day-to-day activities. I haven't had a day like that since using the SONU. However, it's hard to determine if the correlation is direct or a cause or a variable of something else, such as weather or air quality. In my specific medical case, I have both a structural and an environmental cause affecting my nasal airway. It also doesn't help that my house is smack dab in the vortex of the San Bernardino Mountains trap or whatever it's called that produces the worst air quality in the entire nation. So to sum it up, no, I don't feel better being treated by the SONU band, but maybe it's helping. But I also found myself falling into like this deep analysis of my own judgment and how I feel when I actually see my congestion score from the SONU. I have to ask myself, do I really feel that congested today like my score says I am? Actually, though, am I less congested because my score is higher? I feel pretty much the same, but is it because I'm just not paying attention to my body that day because I'm busy or distracted? Those are the things that really make this a hard product to distinguish the efficacy of when there isn't a substantial amount of anecdotal evidence that I can personally point to that I can say made it so that I felt better. So to sum it all up, if you're desperate for any reprieve to your symptoms and the traditional treatments that allergists, ENTs, and doctors constantly loop to patients, like nasal sprays, don't truly give you the peace you desire, then you really have nothing to lose in giving the SONU band a try. It's safe and easy to use. At worst, you're out $300 and you have a low-quality bone-conducting audio player that you strap onto your head for music. The best case scenario is that the vibrations truly do influence your specific sinus cavities, in which then this becomes an invaluable item for your life. While I hold the SONU band in the first regard, I'm also not saying I don't believe in acoustic resonance therapy itself. For one reason or another, the SONU band was not able to relieve my respiratory health issues, but the science does show that acoustic resonance therapy does show promising potential as treatment for nasal congestion issues. As with most things in the medical industry, there's no guarantees of success. It's a game of odds, and sometimes you're in the statistical minority. Whatever the case is, though, I'm at least optimistic enough to be grateful that there are consumer electronic options readily accessible to the general public that at the very least tries to address these needs like the SONU band does, even if I didn't find relief from it. Once again, I'm Alex from the Semnotics. Let me know if you have the SONU band, and I really want to hear if it has helped you, if it made a difference in your life. I would love to see that in the comments below. Hit that like button if this helped you make a decision one way or the other, and I'll see you guys in the next video.